is where I met Michael Wilson. 5 years ago, we formed Farragut Citizens for Responsible Growth and Development as a counterbalance to the town, because we had concerns that the planning was going off the rails. So now, Connie has asked a question. I want to help you. We have 3 things we need of you to save our town. We need you to sign the petition. We need you to look at the flyer. We have a website, fcrgd.blogspot.com. It will take you to so many answers that you have just asked. It will take you to our Facebook page. Okay, so I handle Nextdoor and the blog. Michael has the bigger responsibility of our Facebook page with, as of today, I think it's 965 members, which makes us the largest citizens group in this town, well, probably ever. Look, it is imperative. We need you to sign the petition. We need you to go to change.org. It'll all be on the blog spot. We need 2,000 email comments before noon Wednesday. It's on the flyer. Comments at townoffarragut.org. They don't have to all be gold, okay? Some can be silver. You can bring up anything you want. They're hell-bent to do this, folks. This may not be the first rally we have. If we cannot get those 2,000 emails and they approve this, we'll have another rally and we'll talk about raising funds to take them to court. This is our town. I want to remind you, this government is for the people, of the people. We have had our rights violated since March of 2020. When the First Amendment was created, it didn't say that the right to redress your government would be done by a letter to the Pony Express, because the Pony Express didn't exist, and neither did email or the internet. Vice Mayor Povlin's gym has been open since March of 2020, and we cannot go to the town hall and have a face-to-face discussion with our government. I say that is wrong. We need your help. We need 2,000 email comments. That means you're going to have to reach out to your family, your friends, your neighbors. You're going to have to call them on the phone. I want to tell you, we made a mistake. We used social media way too long on this. We found out that these flyers, we found out that hardly anybody knew about what was happening. Well, now people know, and now we have to stand together. 3 things. Sign the petition, go to change.org, you'll find it on the blog spot, and we need those emails. Yes, sir.
If we don't have to hire an attorney, who's going to act as the treasurer and who will proliferate the information where to donate?
Well,
Probably where this is headed.
I hope not. I hope that we're strong enough to not have to need that. But what did he say?
Repeat the question.
He asked the question of, if we had to hire an attorney, how would we go about it? Okay, well, in front of the media and everyone, we're already talking with an attorney. And we've already made a legal brief. And we're waiting. I'm waiting to hear from the attorney about how we'll do that. We will stand and protect our town. I appreciate you coming out here in the cold. This is the kind of commitment that makes a community.
Mike.
Thank you.
Can we remind everybody if they're going to hand out flyers to their neighbors not to give them to their mailboxes if they're
Okay, so we've had some flyer distribution. Don't tape them to the mailbox, tape them to the pole. In Farragut, a lot of people have the paper box. Put it in the paper box, and we'll have more flyers. But the big thing, get those emails out before noon on Wednesday. And thank you for coming. Does anyone have any other questions? Yes, sir.
I've been here 4 months. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. Can I ask you a couple questions and answer them? Because I think if it would help me,
Yes.
it's going to help other people. And I'll preface this. I've served on a zoning committee.
Closer?
There you
All
go.
right, thank you. I did that before. Hold me to it. So I've served on a zoning commission in a small town half the time size of Farragut. I understand we've done some things to protect this place. I think that's a good thing. There's a line, it's a three-dimensional problem in land use where you have to balance everybody's rights. Private property rights, your next door neighbor's rights, the town's rights, the culture of the town. So I've listened to you folks, I listened to Mr. Wilson earlier, and my impression of this is we are making a change, I have a proposed change on Thursday that's going to allow very high density apartments in parts of this town that's not allowed now. And this is a question. I'm not sure I'm understanding this, but I wanted to work through this because if you can help me, I think you can help others.
So that's a great question. Under the planning document, yes, I would say that they have planned to have high density in that area. The difference is the high density was supposed to be above the commercial. So it's a change in the form of the high density. That's the first piece. The current property over here, there is part of it that is a commercial zoned right now property, which would allow for apartments to be built. Commercial zoning does allow for apartments. So that would go back to the existing commercial district. They wouldn't go all the way back on the property. So that's right. I said earlier, parts of the plan have been adopted as ordinance. The mixed-use town center piece has been adopted as ordinance. The rest of the plan has not, so it's a lot more fungible, as you probably know. It's guidance, it's guidelines that they try to, that they follow. And that's why I said legally, do they have to do the significant public outreach? By the letter of the law, no. Has the plan called for that for 8 years? Yes. Should they have done it? Yes. So is this a legal situation in the sense that we can sue them for not doing significant public outreach? No. But should people take that into account when they go to the ballot box? Absolutely. I will tell you that every elected official in this town probably gets elected by less than 900 votes. In between, or they run unopposed. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It starts.
Okay.
May I ask more?
Sure, absolutely.
So one of the things, and again, I've only been here 4 months. I'm a Yankee. I even wear it on my chest. We joke about that. It's the only sweatshirt I have. So I get it all the time. So I understand protecting the character of a town. My first time here was when I bought a house just under a year ago. So I don't know the area very well, and that may reflect in what I'm saying. But it seems to me an important thing here is we've gone from a farming community to a very nice small town in a few decades. So it seems to me that this proposal will allow a very different kind of land use in a town that either doesn't have it or doesn't have a lot of it. Am I correct? Is that a fair? I don't want to put any words. Okay. So one of the things and again, I'm not on either side of this. I'm just gaining information. I want to talk to everybody, and I thank you guys for talking to me. That to me seems like a big problem to talk about. That if you do this, now let's look at what Mr. Wilson is saying about down the road. And that's a legit, and I guess that would, to me, would make sense why you'd want to focus on that, because if you do this, then what? And how do those then whats matter to people who are already here? And there's not, I'm not, the way I've heard the term Knox boxes. We have very small homes. Ours isn't like that. We're actually neighbors. I'm over in Brixworth, and like a half an acre is a lot down here. I lived on 2 acres where I was from. It's different. And it seems like having a lot of people in a very small place is radically different than what's here now. And that's my impression of a good argument out of this, in listening to everybody, is to focus on that, because I've talked to the mayor. He spent plenty of time with me and answered all my questions, and both sides on this have thought this through. They've thought about what is, having transition into housing. All this stuff's been thought through. So it's not surprising, but that to me seems like a big, it's not about necessarily this one thing, but what precedent have you set today or Thursday if you say yes? And again, I don't want to put any words in anyone's mouth, but this is my impression of listening for the last couple hours.
To an extent, you open up Pandora's box. we go from a rural suburban town to having concentrations of urban areas. Now, when you study planning, like Mark Shipley, our community development director, they encourage high density at major arterial roads. That is to reduce global warming and to have mass transit make better use of the streets. Folks, we don't have any mass transit. It's crazy to increase the density near the high schools. This is a pinch point. Concord Road and Kingston Pike is a pinch point. This is not the kind of planning we need. Some of this, I'm sure if you all remember the cartoon character Pogo, who observed, we have met the enemy and he is us. The problem is, we were apathetic. When the comprehensive land use plan was being developed, too much density was placed near the high school. We didn't object to the apartments behind Little Joe's. We did not object to the apartments at the Overlook right down this road, because they weren't next to the pinch points and they weren't next to the schools. In my personal opinion, the best thing we could do is have a town center on Eddie Ford's land, commercial development on the Biddle Farm, and take the bad part of the Biddle Farm that's in the 100-year floodplain and make it a town park and greenway. The town has the money to do it. The town has a $10 million surplus. We just spent $8 million on McPhee Park, which is 1 mile from the Loudoun County line, but it's very far from here. We don't have a park. Well, actually, we have this park. It's brand new, and we're grateful for it.
How much?
$8 million for McPhee Park, which is going to be used by a lot of people from Loudoun. We need a park on the Biddle Farm, on the bad part of it. We are not, in the South, they call them beginners. We are not beginners. We want a great town. In fact, actually, I think one of the best planners I've ever met is Michael Wilson. And he has tried so hard to help our government see the mistakes they're making. Does that help?
As someone who's sat at the table and taken these arguments, that sounds completely reasonable, what you just said. Because you're thinking about, you've covered two arguments here, and again, this is my thoughts. One, that's a big change from what we have. The other thing is, it sets a precedent that can change where we are. And I grew up in a town in Connecticut that happened to. And they put all this stuff. They took a farm where I grew up and put all these homes on it, and it changed the whole neighborhood. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I think you've made a really good argument, and it seems reasonable to me as someone who's had them thrown at me. So I think it's the bigger picture. Again, for whatever my opinion's worth, it's the bigger picture of what happens with all of this. Because the schools is out of their control, so that's why it wouldn't be necessarily a great argument. And the fact that you have apartments right next to a high school, that makes a little sense. And then you're messing with school bus schedules. Well, with all the growth that's coming down here, which a lot of folks who've been here a long time have no idea what that's like. And I'm one of them. I'm from up north, but I'm not one of them. I know that always gets asked too. I get that all the time, the sweatshirt too. But no, I want to talk to you. I thank you for just spending time with me, handing me a microphone. But that was, in listening to all of this, that was what my thoughts were as someone who's done this before, was that's your real argument. And it sounds reasonable, and you've thought a lot about it. So I would have to assume it's a solid argument.
It is.
Okay, then thank you.
So one thing I would say is, if you've listened to this and you hear it from your perspective, perhaps that's what we need you to send to the town to say,
Absolutely.
look, I've heard these arguments, and I've been sitting where you sit, and these are reasonable arguments. It's not that people are being unreasonable from your perspective. Whether you agree or disagree.
I don't know yet, but the other thing is, I'm sorry. The other thing is, you make a great point that when you try to ram things through, even if it's perceived as that, not that it is, that creates a lot of angst in politics. And no one's accusing anyone of doing that here, but it's something to be aware of. And I think the two previous arguments and that one it's a good case. I mean, if businesses can be opening and people can congregate, we can sit in a room and talk to each other.